I'm pro-life because I believe that every human being has value
Yeah.
and has the right to life, and you have the right to life, and I have the right to life, and I believe all human beings should have the right to life.
Yeah.
And currently in Canada, there's no law on abortion, so a woman can kill her baby up until the point of birth if she so chooses, and I believe that's a human rights violation.
So what about the human rights though of the choice of the mother to, because it's it's her body, right? Because she's pregnant. So don't you believe that she should be able to have the choice?
Yeah. So what is she pregnant with?
A baby.
Okay. So there's another body.
Yeah. But at what point does it become a human? Would you say? At what point in the development of the baby?
I don't have to tell you what I think, because science has already proven that to us.
Yeah.
That for any species, at the point of fertilization, you have another unique, whole, living entity of that species. So to find out what something is, all you have to do is look at its parents.
Right.
So you have human parents, therefore you are human. And when I'm pregnant, I can only ever be pregnant with a human.
Right. So, but at what point in the, because it starts off as a zygote, right? A zygote. It's not a baby until I think about a certain amount of weeks into the development.
Oh, so what would you call a brand new baby that was just born an hour ago?
That's like a firstborn.
A newborn?
A newborn, yeah.
Okay,
infant,
and then like a couple years later, it's a toddler.
Yeah,
right?
it's a
and
toddler.
And then a child, and
a
teenager.
Right.
And then an old woman like me.
She's very old.
So, at any point of on that line of development, we have different names for that person in the age category it's in, but it's still the same human being. So you're right, at the point of fertilization, that's a zygote, and then it further develops and becomes an embryo, and then a fetus,
and the fetus,
and then a newborn. But those are just names for stage of development.
Human, right?
Do you know what fetus means?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
would you like to give me the definition of it?
No,
well, it's just.
You give the definition.
Yeah. No, I want to hear your definition.
Well, it's so fetus is Latin for little one. Yeah. So it's just, and just like I would call my 2-year-old a toddler. So, but that doesn't mean she stops being a human being because I chose to call her a toddler.
So what would you say about the scenario where a female is raped and then now she has to have a baby that wasn't even her consensual? It wasn't consensual. What would you say about that?
Well, I'm hoping you would agree with me that rape is horrible.
Yes, rape is a horrible thing. Yeah.
And in the case where rape leads to a conception of a new life, we need to recognize that there's 3 human beings involved in the scenario now. There's the rapist who should be
put in jail,
prosecuted for his actions. There's the woman and the victim. And now there's a baby, which is an innocent byproduct of that action. And so why should the child pay for its father's crimes, do you think?
Well, I wouldn't say that the child should pay for its father's crimes.
Well, but by killing it, you're essentially making it pay for its father's crimes.
I see where you're coming from, but I think the difference that we have an opinion here is that I don't believe that the child is a child until up until a certain point in the development.
Okay, so let's go back to that. That's good. So at what point would you say?
I would say about 1 month or 1 to 2 months. I'd say before that.
After birth?
No. 1 to 2 months in pregnant stage,
So like 4 weeks gestation is 1 month. So before a woman even knows she's pregnant, usually.
No, a woman knows that she's pregnant after 2 weeks. She can't know that she's pregnant after 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the baby's already.
But I don't think. See, that's what I don't think it's a baby. I think of a baby as a baby. Like I don't think of a baby as it's just a cell. It's a compilation of cells at that point. It's not.
What are you made out of?
Well, I'm a compilation of cells, but I've been alive for 18 years now,
Okay.
so I don't
So
know.
are you saying that the older you become, so your life will be more valuable next year when you're 19?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Okay.
I'm
when
not saying
you grow taller and have more cells?
yeah, you can. But I'm saying what I'm trying to say is that at that point in the development of the fetus, before it has reached 1 to 2 months, I think that decision should be made by the mother because it's in her body. And we obviously don't agree on that.
Well, no, we don't. But my argument's logical. That's the difference.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm saying that at any point of human development, it is wrong to kill another innocent human being. But you're putting a subjective timeline when you subjectively value that human being. And so logically, if you say it is wrong to kill a human being, do you agree it's wrong to kill a human being?
I agree, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Then all human life, regardless of age, should be protected with the right to life.
I agree so.
Because abortion is essentially ageism.
It's ageism, but it's not ageism because when you're born, how old are you? How old are you? Like the day you were born, how old are you?
Well,
No,
legally, that's the date of your birth, and you're 0 days old or how many
Exactly.
hours old.
So
But that doesn't.
before that, does that mean that you weren't technically you weren't alive before you were born?
Do you have a science background?
I have no science background.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I'm a business student.
Okay, so you live like you can't be dead before birth and then come alive. Like you were living inside the womb and you're still living outside of the womb. So you're alive
I
in both
understand,
cases.
yeah.
So
Well, yeah, okay. But you're born the day you were born. That is
Okay.
that is your first day of life. Would you not agree? Or would you say that you
No,
have a
I
day
would
of life
say-
inside of your mother's?
yeah, well
Yeah.
the baby growing inside in utero is alive.
Yeah, no,
And it's
that's true.
growing.
That's true. That's a fact.
Yeah.
It's alive, but it's not. It's born yet.
Okay, so are you changing your mind now that not 1 to 2 months in pregnancy is now from the point of birth that we value human life?
So
Is that
sorry,
what you're
say,
saying?
say that again.
Well, because earlier you said that you think it's okay to kill a baby.
Up to 1 to 2 months. 1 to 2 months
Yeah.
into the fetal development of the baby.
Okay.
Yes, I agree.
So
but I would say
then now-
after the first trimester, I would say that you shouldn't.
okay, why? What if I'm in my second trimester? A day into my second trimester. What's the difference? What happened between yesterday and today?
Oh, I was kind of just using that as a general point. I don't really know that there's the main difference between those two periods of time. But the main argument that I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, the woman who's carrying the baby should have the choice.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that murdering and getting abortions is a good thing. It should be available as a choice, as a last resort.
But
in certain situations, and if you take that choice away, then there's a lot of damage that can be done.
But your theory
that.
takes my choice away in second trimester if I want to abort my baby. If we go by your standards, you've taken my choice away.
Right. So then.
And how dare you?
Okay. Well. Okay. So you have a good point there, but I guess what I should say is that up to the second trimester or third trimester, regardless of where it is, there should be a choice that's given. But what I was saying is that before the first the 1 and the 2 months, that is when I would consider the baby to actually be alive. Because I'd say before that first 1 to 2 months,
it
the
was
first
dead?
trimester. No, I wasn't saying it was dead, but it was just it's a zygote basically. Still, it's a collection of tiny amount of cells.
Yeah, so a zygote is only the first day actually of when you were first conceived, you were only a zygote as a 1 cell entity,
Okay.
and then the minute you became 2 cells,
Yeah.
and then
Then what did you become after that? What's the next stage?
well, I guess we could just lump it under embryo.
Embryo. Sorry, an embryo. Yeah. So at what point does the embryo stop becoming an embryo? Does it reach the next stage?
At 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
It's called, then starts being called a fetus.
A fetus. Okay. So I would say what I was trying to say is that up until the point where you are a fetus, you basically do not have life.
Pat, can you show me your sign? Yeah. Okay. Here, 9 weeks.
That's 9 weeks.
So
That's
a week
fetus.
earlier,
Yeah.
was still an embryo. So it's wrong to kill this baby,
Yeah.
but a week earlier it would be okay.
I didn't say. I said that the woman should have the choice regardless up until the baby is born. But what I was trying to say is that before that, I wouldn't consider that to be a baby. Before that 9 week stage or that 8 week stage, the first trimester.
So
basically what I'm saying is I don't consider an embryo a human life. I don't consider that taking away.
Okay, so what is it?
Jack, it's semantics. I don't consider you to be a senior citizen
Well, I'm not a senior citizen, so that would be correct.
because of age. That's all you're talking about.
Yeah, but you're still a human being.
I'm a human being. Or would you say are you saying I'm not a human being?
No, you are, regardless of if you're a teenager or a
Yes,
senior citizen.
but
or
that's
whatever.
different because I'm alive. I'm in the world. You can see I'm a human being.
But you
right?
can see that baby's a human being.
That's after the first trimester. Yeah.
No, this is still first trimester.
Isn't that 9 weeks? So
Yeah, you asked me when it starts being called a fetus.
And you said 8 weeks.
Yeah, but the first trimester it's up until 12 weeks.
Okay. So as soon as it becomes a fetus, then I guess it's a human. But I would say that
But so I'm back to my original question. What is
Okay.
it before then?
it's an embryo.
What is an embryo?
An embryo is a collection of cells.
What is this baby? What are you? What am I?
I'm a collection of cells, but
Yes.
there's a collection of cells in these leaves, and there's cells in.
Oh, sure. And if you want to set up a display about save the leaves, then you're welcome to. But we're here to talk about human beings.
So I understand that. So there's cells. Like if I kill a cell when I step on the ground or step on an ant, is that like should that be?
Is it a human being?
No, it's not a human being.
If it was a human being and you stepped on a human being and killed them, yes, I think that's against the law. But when we're here talking about human
But
rights,
if it's a collection of cells, then is that are you killing a human being? If you're killing an embryo, I understand
yes,
what
if
you're
you're
trying to say.
killing an embryo,
You're killing
a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get back to my other point.
Okay.
So, because I want to talk situational, because clearly you have the science background, I don't have the science
No,
background. It's
but
not
that's
my,
why I'm trying to catch
not
up,
my-
like,
yeah.
put us both on the same page and
Right.
ask you where you're at. But
Yeah.
I'm still not convinced because, like I said, your argument is it's subjective. Like
Yeah.
I've said objectively
Yeah.
we are human beings through all our stages of development and
Right.
all of our age.
Right.
And I think it's wrong to kill a human being, which we agree.
Right. Yeah, we
So-
both agreed on that. Yeah.
So that's why I think at any point of development and age,
Yeah.
it's wrong to kill any human being.
So, but I want to get back to my other point is because it comes down to situational, right?
Okay?
Because
Everything is situational.
everything's situational. Yeah. So, what would you say in a situation where someone is raped or early childhood? Yeah. So like an early motherhood. So like a 16-year-old girl. What would you say about that? And she becomes pregnant, or someone a victim of rape becomes pregnant.
We talked about rape, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my position
So what
has
I-
not changed since 10 minutes ago.
But what I'm trying to say is, by you saying that you're pro-life, you're basically saying that you're anti-choice, right? So you're anti-choice for the mother. You don't want the mother
No,
to be
I
able to
am
have the choice.
pro-choice, but I'm against choices that hurt other people. So if you...
But you just said you're pro-life, so how are you pro-choice?
Because I think we should all have choices for different things.
So-
but if I choose
So I have a
to
question.
swing my bat,
Yeah.
that's my choice. But the minute that bat hits you on the head,
Right.
I no longer should have that choice because it's hurting another person.
Right. So you said you're pro-choice, but you're against
Choices
that hurt other people. Okay. So would you say that making abortion illegal is a choice? You'd say that's true, right? If legislation made abortion illegal, would that be a choice? Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Well,
that would be a
anything
choice.
legislation
So
does,
so
yeah.
by legislation making abortion illegal,
Are we going to hurt women?
that choice is going to hurt a lot of young women.
How?
Would you not agree?
How?
So I gotta give you like a hypothetical then. So let's say there's a 16-year-old girl, she's raped, or she unfortunately she becomes pregnant. She has plans ahead of her. She doesn't come from a high wealth family, so she comes from a lower class. So her whole life, even if she was going to school or whatever, is now going to be drastically changed. Would you not agree with that?
I would, and she can choose to place that baby up for adoption. Why not? Why not give that baby a chance at life as well, and to build its own dreams in a loving family that would welcome it with open arms?
And there's also a lot of mental strain being pregnant for 9 months. If you're in high school, you're 16, 17-year-old girl. There's a lot of mental strain that goes along with that. And it's gonna affect her life, I would assume, so negatively for the rest of her life if she has to go through that process.
And how would an abortion take that away? Because I can tell you that abortion affects women for the rest of their lives as well, negatively.
No, I would agree. So I mean, either way, it's not going to be a good situation if something like that would happen. But it doesn't really change the fact that if you make abortion illegal in Canada, you're taking away the choice. You're making a choice to take away a choice.
Yes.
And by doing so, you making that choice is affecting the lives of a lot of young women.
And when in the U.S. they decided to make slavery illegal, they took away people's choice to own a slave, and that made their life those slave owners' lives worse.
Okay.
But we would both agree that was a good decision.
I would agree that taking away the choice for people to own slaves is a good decision.
Yeah. So sometimes we make changes in the law that affect certain people, and they don't like it, and it affects them negatively.
So you're.
But it's for the protection of a certain group of people that needed that protection.
So you're comparing a young mother who's going through an unplanned pregnancy to a slave owner?
No, did I say that?
No, I'm not. But you're putting that because it's clearly that this choice.
No, I gave you an example in history where the law changed.
But but that's completely. It's obviously completely different, and it's clear that decision to give someone the choice to keep or get rid of a baby is not as black as white as getting rid, or at least in my opinion, it's not as black as white as taking away the choice of someone to own a slave, because you're owning another human being.
Well, actually, you weren't at that time. In the eyes of the law, black people were not persons. They were stripped of their status of personhood.
Yes.
So legally, you were not enslaving a person. You were enslaving your slave, which was something under a person.
Right. Okay.
And in the eyes of Canadian law, the unborn baby is also
not a person.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's my example of history, and there's many other ones that I'm sure you can think of, where if we strip a certain group of human beings of their personhood and of their right to life, that puts their lives in danger, and is a huge injustice is done upon them.
But it's clear to everyone. I think clearly at that time it wasn't, but it's clear to everyone that a black person or a slave is still a human. You can see them; they're alive. They've been born.
But at that time,
yes,
it was. We look back at that time and say that was atrocious, because it was.
So you think that in the future we're going to look back at this time
hope so.
And say that it was atrocious that people were having abortions?
I hope so.
What's your name, by the way?
Shaquir.
Oh yeah, Shaquir.
Yeah.
Shaquir. So you fall on the pro-choice side of things, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if I show you a video, it's only about three minutes.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's not too graphic. In fact, it's not real people or anything.
Yeah.
And it's a first trimester surgical abortion.
Sure.
Could you watch it and then just sort of give it your thoughts after you see it? Okay.
Yeah. Sure. I'm
sort of headphones.
Do that. Yeah.
There.
Abortionist uses a series of metal rods called dilators, like these, which increase in thickness, and inserts them into the cervix to dilate it, gaining access to the inside of the uterus where the baby resides. The baby has a heartbeat, fingers, toes, arms, and legs, but its bones are still weak and fragile. The abortionist takes a suction catheter like this one. This is a 14 French suction catheter. It's clear plastic, about 9 inches long, and it has a hole through the center. It is inserted through the cervix into the uterus. The suction machine is then turned on with a force 10 to 20 times more powerful than your household vacuum cleaner. The baby is rapidly torn apart by the force of the suction and squeezed through this tubing down into the suction machine, followed by the placenta. Though the uterus is mostly emptied at this point, one of the risks of a suction D&C is incomplete abortion, essentially pieces of the baby or placenta left behind. This can lead to infection or bleeding. In an attempt to prevent this, the abortionist uses a curette to scrape a lining of the uterus. A curette is basically a long-handled curved blade. Once the uterus is empty, the speculum is removed and the abortion is complete.
Okay. What do you think, Shaquir?
So,
did that change your mind at all, or
that, it didn't change my mind. I don't think that's a pleasant scenario for anyone, but I think that it still should be available as a choice as a last resort. I still think it should be available. It's not a good-looking procedure. It's not. Yeah. There's nothing pleasant about it, but I still think that it should be readily available as made to a choice as a last resort.
Can I interject something?
Yeah.
Again, it's semantics. There's nothing pleasant about it. That's true. There's nothing right about that. There's nothing good about that.
I would never said that abortion is a good thing. It's not something that anyone should be like happy about or anything like that.
It's a bad thing. It's a bad choice. It destroys a human life.
Well, that's where I would disagree. I would say in some situations, in some scenarios that
but you're almost saying it. It's not a good choice. Is code for it's a bad choice.
Yeah, well,
you're saying it, I'm just quibbling over how to say it.
What I'm trying to say is that in some situations, to some people, it could be seen as the only choice to them, and giving the baby up for adoption is another choice. But I would also say that that in some situations, it's not going to be a good choice for the baby as well as for the mother or the father.
But who are we to make that judgment call? Because when my first child was born.
But who are you to make the judgment? Oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. But who are you to make the judgment call to say that you can't have the choice? But
what I'm saying,
and I didn't
choice I'm saying that people shouldn't have is killing another human being. I believe that that murder is illegal for a good reason. Right. Okay, so.
I never said murder was good. Murder is bad. We both agree on that.
So, who are we to say your life's gonna suck and my life will be good? So I'll let myself live, but not you.
Right.